Hello everyone, my name is Jeff, and this is the Zombieland episode 6 review. My name is Jeff, and with me as always are Coby and Torie. Did I say my name is Jeff twice?
I
think so.
Did you say it twice? You
You
sound a little off.
Yeah, I was way off. Thanks for saving me on the episode, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm here
what's
for.
up, homie? You okay?
You okay?
I don't know.
Everything good? Everything good with you?
I think the universe is slightly off tilt by like a degree.
Sure, that's a plausible explanation.
Yeah. So welcome back, Coby. We had to man the podcast ship without you. It was a raucous good time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys had fun. As a brief recap, I saw you guys debated whether the chicken guy was an actual chicken for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Please chime in on that.
yeah, actual chicken, hands down. End of discussion. And overall, I like the episode. It was funny. It had some cool moments, and it got back on track. It reminded me of why I like the show to begin with.
Very, very good, succinct review. That pretty much explains my feelings.
Yeah, everything except for the chicken part, but...
Yeah, you still think he's like dude? A real, like a human? Like human
It
human?
just
Not a human
we're on
chicken?
to the next episode now.
Yeah, next episode.
No, are you? Is it a human or what? You think it's human? I just want to know.
Yes.
Okay, now we can move on. I just wanted to know. Okay, so yeah, we're on episode 6 of the Zombieland saga, and we start off not in the dungeon, as per usual, as is usual with these episodes.
Whoa.
We start off in the office of regular humans, and it is the humans that were spying on the Franchouchou girls in the previous episode, and it looks like they're kind of like trying to look them up. And they're like, damn it, they have no social medias. How do we stalk these girls? And then the dude who recognized them was like, oh, maybe they're sticking their roots or whatever, or like trying to keep it cool.
Keep a low profile.
Yeah, whatever his reasoning was. Essentially, he's all about that. When I was on Jake's podcast, I think he brought up an interesting theory that he's like an old otaku. Like he was like really into idol girls when he was younger. And so that's how he can like recognize all these girls, because these are all girls that he was a fan of as he was growing up, or something. So I think that's a pretty good.
And that references for Jake's Anime Dumpster Dive podcast. Check that out if you guys have time.
Shout out to Anime Dumpster Dive.
Yeah.
And like I said, the universe is off tilt by a degree, so you're gonna have to correct me if I go off tilt, because I think parts of this episode kind of melded together for me.
Sure.
Because of the fact that the structure was not how it usually goes. I believe what happens next is you see the girls practicing a dance or a song or whatever, and it looks like Ai is more into it. She's kind of accepting the role of pop idol girl, whereas before she was a bit more reluctant to do it.
Yeah.
And then we go into the dungeon, or do they start looking at videos of...
They like flash into the dungeon really quick.
Yeah, and then the funny stuff happens again. Although I don't know if the jokes landed in this section for me personally, but Kotaro is doing his best impression of whatever those things are called, those old Japanese-style theaters, like ancient feudal Japan type things where they're wearing the mask and they have those weird poses.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about now that you explain it, but that's what... You
were trying to figure out what the hell that was.
Yeah, I had no idea that's what he was trying to embody.
I just thought he was just being crazy, and he was great.
Yeah.
Crazy Kotaro.
But it wasn't funny crazy. It was like super uncomfortable crazy, like
kind of weird.
Yeah, because even like Saki says, "This is awkward. Like, get to the point." And I was like, "Thank you for saying that."
Yeah, and then the other joke in this section is Sakura. Well, okay, so he gives the good news that like thanks to their commercial for Drive Torie and the footage from the Gat Olympics, they're actually gaining a few fans. And then Sakura's like, yeah, and then she does the little chicken pose. And then Kotaro tries to do the pose too, which is, she shows him how to do the pose, but he does an obviously different pose. Like, is he stupid or something?
He's crazy. He's doing something else.
He's doing his Kotaro style.
Yeah, and then after that he starts berating her and calls her a Pinocchio-ass zombie or something.
Pokes her in the nose.
And then stabs her face where her nose is supposed to be with his finger.
Come on,
that's
I know.
Brutal.
Yeah, but I bet it's very squishy.
Very squishy and smelly.
So. But why is he saying that she's lying? Is that why he called her Pinocchio?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I don't know. I that just occurred to me as well. But yeah, so they've got a fan base now, and they are actually going to be performing at the what is it called? They're basically one of the newcomers to this concert where a bunch of idol groups are going to be performing, and they're like they're representing like the up and coming idol group.
You missed a pretty whole section.
Yeah, so right,
that's like the gist of the episode, though. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that
like
is the gist
this
of it.
episode. Oh, first and foremost, was really a setup episode. It served to give some character backstory, I think, on two of the idols, and then set up for the next episode arc.
Yeah, and then I guess we can jump into those little backstory segments of the two idols. So we learned a little bit about I and Junko, and there's a portion of the episode where they do a small concert and they do a meet and greet with their small and current fan base, and everyone's kind of into it except for Junko, and she's not into it because when she was an idol in her era, they didn't do meet and greets like that, and she's coming from the standpoint of like she doesn't feel like it's right that idols should have the opportunity to show off any flaws about themselves, because to her, a pop idol is like an ideal, like the idealistic human being, like someone to aspire to, and she thinks that showing up in person and meeting the fans in person would kind of tarnish that image. And
I love that whole aspect to it because this is the first time the show has really dug into the different time periods that these girls come from. Like before, they all kind of seemed like the same type of girl, and their histories and backstories didn't really come into play besides like one joke at the beginning. But having an idol from the 80s who grew up in a different time of idols really gives this episode some actual conflict that's been lacking throughout like the past 4 or 5 episodes about like what really makes these girls different from one another. So I was really happy that they chose to go this route with her character, because it actually showed how her past influences her current role on the team, which is good for that, because I thought Junko had like nothing before this.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, completely. And it gives you a bit of a history lesson kind of in pop idol history. It's like, I guess, yeah, in the 80s, they didn't do meet and greets, but nowadays it's very common.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They were all like TV stars and stuff. And
Yeah, you couldn't
social
go
media
out and
didn't exist back
interact with
then.
them.
and it wasn't so easy that they could just hop on a plane everywhere and
Oh, yeah.
meet their fans.
And that's the other thing too. Junko mentions, so they're having kind of there's a small conversation in like this. They're kind of like doing a Google searches on like current idol groups and stuff. And I, being kind of the more recent pop idol, is telling them like how to do things, and how for her it took her a year to get popular, which for Junko was surprised. She said, "Wow, that's so quick." So I guess it kind of gives you even more insight as to like what the build
back
up was.
then it must have been incredibly hard.
Yeah.
What was her group called again? Iron something?
Iron Frill?
Skirt or-
Frill?
Frill, there we go. Yeah, Iron Frill, that's where I came from. Did they ever talk about where Junko...
I forgot the
Junko's
name of her
was?
group. I don't know if they mentioned it or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so I mean, Junko's period where you didn't have like Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff, yeah, it would have taken much, much longer to even consider being on a stage of thousands of people.
You had to travel a whole lot, much to Junko's trouble, because that is how she died.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she died before she even... So it took her years to train, and before she even got the chance to become the popular idol that she wanted to aspire to be, she got into a plane crash, and that's how she died. And that's a very, very tragic thing. So we know about how she dies. Who else do we know about their death so far? Is it just her and
Junko.
So the Sakura, we assume, died by getting hit by a car.
Plowed by a truck.
Junko died by plane crash, and then we also know how she died, but we'll go into that later. But does anyone else?
I don't think not yet. No.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, and then her story is that like, she was basically at the top of her game, but she died very publicly.
In the most metal way possible.
Yeah.
It was awful.
It was sad, but also kind of funny. Like, I don't know what they were going for, but it kind of made me laugh.
It made me laugh, but I was also shocked, because I know this is a cartoon anime, but like I'm sitting, but like imagine you're in this crowd and you're watching your favorite performer, and all of a sudden they're fried to a crisp by lightning in front of you. Like that's That's messed up.
It is
Yeah,
messed
that
up.
is
And I think it even heightens it because before that, Saki and I are like walking in the rain. And so she runs away and they're like, oh, are you scared of, someone's scared of lightning? Like, how could they? And you explain that's how she died. It's like, fuck, I'd be scared too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking when she was scared about that, I'm like, oh, this is related to her death. But I didn't think it'd be so direct as in she herself was struck by lightning. I thought like, oh, there was a storm and
the storm when she died.
And the storm, crashed on her or something. Like, nope, they cut out the middleman there and just had God smite her down.
And the way they shot that scene was interesting. This is why I thought it was kind of funny, but also messed up. Was they originally kind of made it vague, like you see a lightning crash, like, and it's like, oh, that's how she died. But then they actually show her body burnt to a crisp, frozen in time, like charred on the stage. It's like, whoa,
dang.
They went pretty far on that one, and it was shocking and kind of funny. And I was like, damn, that's pretty crazy. And yeah, in that scene where Ai is afraid of the rain, you see a bit of a softer side to Saki because she's there to kind of be there for her and be a tender, gentler soul than she usually is. So that was kind of nice. And yeah, those two things produce two separate conflicts. One, Junko thinks that her old ways do not fit with Franchouchou's current goals, and she feels that she's going to be a dead weight on the group and won't be able to contribute to their success if they continue along this way, meeting the fans and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So
she thinks that it's what they're doing is not what they're supposed to be doing. Like, they're not being idols, and she doesn't think that's the way she can continue on if they don't follow the way that she thinks they should.
Yeah, so a huge idealistic clash, and so Junko is thinking about leaving. And the other thing is the concert that they're supposed to do is an outdoor concert, their first outdoor concert. And of course, Ai is very nervous about this because she died outside during an outdoor concert.
But
I would be freaked out too.
Isn't her previous idol group playing there too?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So yeah, her previous idol group, Iron Frill, is also going to be there, and that's an interesting thing because they even mention this in the show, or in this specific episode. They say that pop idol groups go through their rises and crashes. And then they rise and fall.
They had to go through, like, an Iron Frill itself had to really come back from, their main singer getting struck by lightning in front of everybody. And, you saw all the links about how, like, 10 years later, their legacy or how they came back from it. Like you saw, like, in, like, the Google searches and stuff. So it's like they're in a completely new place than they were before. What's going to happen when they run into her or see her again? Who knows? But that's the sort of drama that's juicy and keeps me interested.
Definitely. And I am very curious to see what happens going forward. Yeah, I think overall for me, the episode didn't have many laughs, but it did keep me hooked on the drama and character development department. So
yeah, I think our initial impression from it being called Sentimental, that it was going to be heartwarming and sweet. And the fact that it switched those expectations of making it a little, like, dark, like hella dark, about their backstories on their death and how all of that affects their future. I thought it kept me on my toes again, so I'm still a fan.
Yeah. The writers show that they still know what they're doing, and I was afraid that this was going to be more in the vein of episode 3 and 4, where it was kind of more on the dramatic edge, but also kind of boring and dry. And they actually did a very good job. So hats off to them on this one.
Yeah. I mean, so we got some valuable backstory for two of the characters, and now I'm sure as we go on, I'm sure everyone is going to get this sort of treatment. So who does that leave? We just have let's see, Lily and
Yugiri.
Lily and Yugiri, I guess, would be the two that we need to learn more about. But now
and Tai Yamada.
And Tai Yamada, the legendary Tai Yamada.
Yeah.
So I'm sure after watching this episode, I'm confident in where their stories are going to go. And
we also need to learn about Sakura.
Oh, that's
true. Yeah, I guess we need to learn about Sakura. And Kotaru's main plan for taking over Saga with the Zombieland Saga.
We don't care about that. But
I care about that.
There was one other thing that bring me back to Kotaro. So the plane that Junko's plane that she died on, it looks like she was flying either past or into Saga when she died.
Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
think Kotaro dug her corpse out of the plane crash or something?
No, I'm thinking that like all of these girls were buried in Saga, and that's how he was able to find them or get them. That's my theory.
But they're not even. I said, how do you even be buried? I was
except
working
for
on.
some of them are cremated. Yeah.
They're supposed to be cremated, and one
Yeah.
died in a plane crash, and one got
that's
struck by
true.
lightning. Hard to become
That's
a zombie.
true.
Yeah, if someone got struck by lightning, there wouldn't be no body. We already saw it burnt to a crisp.
It was burnt to a crisp.
So is there an answer to this? Who knows?
Yikes! Oh, that's
I was
good.
thinking earlier this week, it's just like, oh, what if Kotaro is the one responsible for killing all of them? Like, in some way, shape, or form. Like, he's this... I was working on a
was
theory.
God.
He was there during the shogunate of the
Yeah, that kind of...
Magician.
Yeah, I thought about that after I had already formed my theory. It's like, yeah, this could kind of make sense. Like, oh, wait, Yugiri comes from, like, hundreds of years earlier. So it's like, that kind of pokes a hole in my theory.
Well,
but
if
who
you assume
knows?
that he is actually a godlike character,
he could
then
be.
he could be the
I-
guy that would live
I
for hundreds of
cannot-
years and strike lightning at the idol.
I cannot assume that. I definitely cannot assume that.
Kotaro
I'm just
is
saying
God.
it would make sense.
No.
if you're trying to go for Katara is responsible for the death, then you would have to accept that he is some kind of godlike figure.
Yeah. So he's getting him in, and this marks a very also important episode because I think this is the first one that the policeman does not appear.
Oh, is that true?
He appears in every single one. I don't.
Didn't
I don't
he? He
remember
got
that.
shot at the beginning. In the first
Was he in episode 4 when they
don't-
went to the beat?
Yeah,
the
I don't remember.
bathhouse?
I don't remember him in 3 or 4.
No, he was in 3. He was in the hall or the. No.
3 is like the gorilla one. Yeah, they meet him in 3. I forgot if he's in. I guess I thought they interview him or something in 4. I know he's in. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Doesn't matter. He wasn't in this one, and his presence was sorely missed.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, I guess we might actually have an answer to all this because it seems like they're kind of hanging these clues in front of us. One, there is that offhanded remark about, yeah, aren't bodies in Japan traditionally cremated? And then they're actually showing us how these girls are have died, and very clearly, Ai was burnt to a crisp. Although Junko, dying in a plane crash, there could still be a corpse, so that one's kind of like, eh.
Well, I don't know.
And also, even though I was struck by lightning, you still see the shape of her body.
Yeah,
so
she's still probably fine.
She wasn't burnt to ashes. She was just burnt.
Yeah, but she was. I'm sure she wouldn't look like what she looks like now. And I want.
She looks like a zombie.
I want to analyze the girls once we learn all of their deaths. I want to see if their zombie body resembles that in any way.
How they died.
Like for instance, I think it's one of them has stitches on their neck. So what if they
got
hung themselves or
decapitated
something
or
like
something?
that? Yeah. So I'll look next episode.
Okay. All I remember is I has bandages, right? Is she the one with bandages?
Oh yeah, she has bandages on her face. Which would explain because she got struck by lightning and lost some of her skin and body.
Sure.
So it's wrapped
Sure.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm onto something.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's something there. What else? I was going to say something else about. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, we distracted with the zombie flesh. Yeah, I don't know. Any other
I'm
final
sure
thoughts?
It was a very
I guess
good
it's
comment.
really it's very curious because the first time I'm wondering how these plot threads are going to come to a head because now we're going to have 2 separate groups kind of recognizing these idols. That old reporter who smokes cigarettes who recognizes Junko. How do you think that's going to resolve? What's going to come from that?
I think he is going to be in support of the group and is going to end up helping Kotaro and the rest of them.
I think it's gonna be her father, and he's gonna flip the frick out.
I don't know about that. I think he would have definitely. I think he would have been freaked the fuck out by now for sure.
don't think
I
so.
think that's
Yeah,
more
dude, he
so.
would recognize his daughter.
I would say that that's a better answer than just this was an idol that he really worshipped back when he was a kid because he gets kind of creepily obsessed. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even though I'm sure her look doesn't exactly match what she looked like, and even the flashes of her in their idol group that we see from Sakura, they don't exactly depict her from like head to toe exactly alike. So how can you pick that out of all these girls in the world to recognize that person as somebody so intently that you would go on this like never-ending journey? Because you think it's your daughter and you're puzzled because you know your daughter's dead, but you see her walking around.
Maybe.
I thought I was the one with crazy theories, but I mean, okay.
I don't think it's that far crazy.
I guess we'll see.
I'm no Kotaro or anything.
No Kataru.
Or are you?
No, that's Coby.
I am Kataru. I'm still convinced his plan there's a unifying theme throughout what he's trying to do.
I really hope so. I mean, I want to be proven wrong. I really do. I want there to be some epic conclusion to all this that ties it all together, that Kotaro was actually a crazy genius instead of just being a crazy dude.
Yeah.
I mean, so far things are going his way, so...
My biggest question, actually I have two questions that kind of related. One, why do they have the dog on their towels?
Because it's a very cute thing.
But they don't bring the dog out, so they're just like, huh?
It's like a Hello Kitty thing. You think Hello Kitty's a real cat that you can just bring out and be like, here, this is Hello Kitty, is what we base this fucking thing on.
What I'm saying is that they're a new idol group and people want them to be on their shirts, not some weird zombie dog.
That dog sells merch.
And then two, are we ever going to learn the backstory on this zombie dog?
That would be interesting.
I would say the zombie dog is Kotaru's first attempt to bring something back. Like, because before, you enact your plan by bringing back zombie girls, you got to test it on something else first. So you test it on the dog. And
so
then when
you're
it works,
agreeing
then
with me, then, that Kotaro is the one that brought them back.
I never disagreed.
I thought Coby came up with that idea.
Yeah, that was my theory.
What the fuck?
No,
You're stealing his theories.
I'm not. You guys
said that at the
dissed
beginning.
me on that. You said his idea... I said I think the easiest explanation is and the simplest is the right one. And
okay, yeah, no, because I just said earlier that the Kotaro killed them and was responsible for killing them, and you said just Kotaro brings them back. So I guess they're two separate.
No.
But it's just.
I think you're Kotaro, Torie. Kotaro, Torie, Kotori.
It all makes sense.
Okay, I would be totally down to learn the backstory of the dog, because when I think of dead dogs, I think of the Futurama dog episode.
Oh, Jurassic Park.
That episode is a masterpiece. And that'd be so cool if we got something kind of like that, but with a happy ending. Because, Fry was on the verge of bringing his dog back to life, but he never did.
He chose not to do it because he thought the dog had a very long life ahead of him, because he learned that it lived 12 years after him. And he's like, so I'm not going to do that, because he was making a really unselfish move. And then it breaks our hearts, but I digress.
I'm sure we're all familiar with that heart-wrenching episode. But do you think it would be like a Kotaro central show?
Yeah, I think that'd be perfect.
I want a Kotaro background episode.
Yeah, like what other character would key off of him other than, I don't know, the dog?
Yeah.
Why not?
I could see that. I don't know if it'd make me like Kotaro, but I'd like to see it.
It'd be cool. Although there doesn't seem to be much kinship between him and the dog so far. I don't think they've shared that many scenes between each other so far.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I'd be down. I'd be down for the reveal. I'm still down for that.
Yeah, the dog kind of just hangs out there, but we will see.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add?
Nope. Solid ep. Excited for the next one.
Me too.
Me three.
Okay, Coby, would you like to sign us off?
Sure, because I missed out on this last week. You found this on Nerd Blaze. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you leave a comment, you can talk to us, and we'll respond, because we like doing that. We'll be back next week with another exciting installment of the Zombieland Saga review, where we'll find out all of life's mysteries and whether Kotaro is truly insane or not.
Maybe.
All
right, thanks for listening, guys. See ya.
Bye.